I loved Tarney's workshop with movement because as a singer, that's kind of something that's really, really important. So what we'll do today is, if you are sitting or standing, wherever you're at, you might want to stand. So I'm probably going to move my camera up a little bit. But you want to feel your feet firmly on the ground. We're going to just roll our shoulders back 3 times and roll them forward. Do some gentle neck rolls. You make half crescents. Move your neck side to side. Stay some nose. Your head. Feel nice and relaxed, grounded. Say some yeses. Do whatever movement feels good for you here, because the purpose of this is just to get loose and get tension out of the body before we create sound. So what happens is that tension blocks our sound, and it blocks a lot of things, as we've learned. So learning to let go is super, super important in singing. So I welcome you all to just keep moving here for a little bit. We're just gonna massage our face, our cheeks a little. You don't want to put too much pressure here, but nice and gentle, just so you get your face a little loose. Massage your lips, forehead, your scalp. So just be prepared to, you're more than welcome to leave yourselves muted if you would like, but if you ever feel like you would like to unmute yourself while we're doing some of these vocal exercises, you are more than free to do so. But I want each of you to not worry too much about what you're hearing when it comes to singing. Because a lot of times we hold judgments of our sound. Oh, well, I don't sound this certain way, or oh, that didn't come out right. Right. So part of singing is making really weird sounds all the time. And so this is how we learn. So first thing we're going to do all together, you can leave yourself muted if you're more comfortable with that, or if you would like to share your voice with everyone. We'll all be singing together. We're just going to do some sighs. So first one we're going to do is just an ah. So it's just ah.
Ah.
Very nice. So the first thing we're going to do here, does everyone know how to do a raspberry? Does everyone know what a raspberry is? You can raise your hand or thumbs up. No? Okay, so a raspberry is basically what all babies naturally do. Just that. So, so what we'll be doing is we're going to do some warm-ups making raspberries. Okay, so what that sounds like. Let's start a little bit lower. I know we have Buddy here. Right there. So we're going to sing right there. Oops. cold in here, so my fingers are a little stiff. But I want, and maybe one of you can share, but I want to know, how did it feel to do that? Where did you feel that sound in your head or your body? Where was that?
So that exercise is a didgeridoo exercise, actually. And so when you said raspberry, I wasn't sure. And then you did it. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I do that every day. But I feel it usually right here in my solar plexus, and it comes up through my heart that way.
Nice.
That's where I usually draw from for that.
So did anyone feel it in their face? Did anyone's nose start to itch? Yeah? Good, good, good. Those are all good signs. And good, buddy. I'm glad you felt it here. So what's happening when we do this exercise, right? Our breath mechanism is just working so perfectly, and we're not having to force the sound out. So what happens is that our breath support is here because you can't make a raspberry if you're not using your breath support, if your breathing mechanisms. So if I try to do that and just use my throat, nothing is going to come out. I have to engage my entire body to create that sound and engage my breathing mechanism. So good, everyone, really, really nice job. That is such a great warm-up. Next one we're gonna do is, let's see here. Maybe we'll start a little bit lower. So you can either sing just the vowels, if that's helpful for you, but we're going to be singing I love to sing. So what that's going to sound like is I love to sing. Kind of low for me there. It's probably easier for you, buddy. I'm a soprano. I don't sing very low.
I'm not a soprano.
I wish I could. So we're going to start right there. So 1, 2, and sing. I love to sing. Good. I love to sing. 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 As we get higher here, we want to keep the space in our mouth nice and open, right? So we're doing I love to sing. Nice and open. We want to feel that sound really expand. We want to feel the air rising and shooting up through our skulls and beyond, okay? And we want to use our heart, right? Because we love to sing. Or if you don't know that you do, maybe now you're getting a taste of a little bit of that. So, where are we at? If you can't sing very high, that's okay. Do your best and just make sure you're not pressing on your voice, right? You want to let the breath really carry that sound, create the space up there, and just let it happen. Right there. 1, 2, and sing. I love to sing. I love to sing. I love to sing. I love to sing. Keep going, you guys got it. I love to sing. I love to sing. All right, one more, guys. We can do it. I love to sing. Keep that space on your way back down. You want to feel the lift in your sound. You want to lift, lift, lift. It also helps here. You can raise your eyebrows as high as you possibly can. That's a nice little trick if you're a beginner singer. That kind of reinforces that lifting motion on your way back down so that we don't drop and scoop into that sound, right? We want to keep the integrity of our sound on the way back down. So right here, I love to sing. 1, 2, and sing.
I love to sing.
I love to sing. I love to sing. I love to sing. I love to sing. I love to sing. I love to sing. I love to sing. I love to sing. Very nice, everyone. So how did that feel? I want to hear anyone who hasn't said anything yet. And if you have, it's okay. You can share. But I want to know how that felt for you all.
I'll share. Oh.
Yes. Go ahead.
Evie was about to share. You can share, Evie. Come on.
I've never done that before. Ever.
Now, how was that for you? What did it feel like?
A lot of judgment. A lot of like weird, interesting, I guess. Just uncomfortable is the best way.
Yeah, that's really, really good to notice and pay attention to, because when especially when you haven't really sung too much in your life, I have worked with quite a few beginner singers, and that's one of the biggest hurdles they have. It's definitely okay to feel like that, and we're so used to hearing people on the radio, Spotify, wherever, and we're like, man, they sound so good, and then we're comparing ourselves to them, right? So one of the ways we really dive into our authentic voice is getting rid of all of that, and just feeling what our bodies are creating. Because eventually, you keep doing that, your authentic sound is going to grow and grow and grow, and it's going to get even more and more laser focused. And you can apply this to your life too. Singing is not that different from anything else, and it's such a spiritual experience as well. So maybe that's something to look at in your own life as well. Where can you drown out everyone else's voice, what everyone else is doing, and just focus on you and where you're going, and focus on the feeling of what it feels like to be able to sing and have a body that can create incredible sounds, even if the sounds may not sound like what you might want them to, right? We're all starting, and we're all doing this here together. I'm sure when I first started singing, there was a lot of really weird, not very nice sounds at all. So thank you so much, Evie, for sharing that. I definitely appreciate your honesty and your vulnerability, because singing can be scary sometimes, and trying something new can be scary. So thank you so much. Okay, everyone.
The raspberry is rough. The raspberry thing, I've never done that either.
Yeah, it takes practice too. Like, it comes so natural to babies because they have no tension in their bodies. They just move their arms and their legs. They just make all these crazy sounds, and it's a very primal sound for a human to make, right? We hear babies screaming, and they're like, ah! And you're like, oh my God, like, how does that thing that's so small make such a loud noise, right? And so they're using their breath mechanism naturally. It's just a primal sound for them, and it's just going straight into that really, really laser focused spot of resonance in your skull. So it's incredible. So if any of you have kids or have babies that scream really loudly, they could very well be incredible singers. So just keep that in mind. Would anyone else like to share?
Yeah, I'll share. I appreciate you sharing that also, Evie, because yeah, I also feel very similar in that way. And for me, I guess it's kind of like my apartment's like really old, so I know my walls are really thin, and I hear my neighbors sing all the time, and I sing, but like, you know, I'm never like I just sing about like random things. Like I'm not like a practitioner singer or whatever. I just sing out of being like a dork. But to actually like get that loud and like tune into my voice, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so loud. Like and my door is like right on the street. So I'm like, anybody walking by can like hear me, you know? And so just like recognizing that and recognizing myself, like not like kind of the self-judgment, but mostly like, it's mostly like I'm really working on like not caring so much about what other people think, and I've been really shedding that over the last couple years, and it's still there a little bit, and so I'm recognizing that. And I also really appreciate you sharing that when you first started, that like you didn't sound great.
No, I mean, I laugh sometimes because I have such old videos of myself singing. I'm like, oh my God, I sounded like that. And I thought it was incredible. But you know what? It's okay. Like you guys and gals, people, beings here. It's part of the process. And you have to just learn to you really do have to learn to just relinquish all of that. So maybe an action step for you this week, Britt, is sing some of these warm-ups and do it without caring what you sound like, or if the neighbors hear you, right? Because you know, you don't know who's paying attention, right? This is your space, right? This is your home. This is your voice. So whether someone likes it or not, you know, that's on them. But as long as you're feeling good, you're using your body to create your sound, that's what's important. So
thank you.
Thank you for sharing, Britt.
Well, my goal would be to sing so loud that Buddy could hear me because he lives like 4 blocks away.
It is possible. It is possible. Okay, we're gonna move. We're gonna go to another warm up. So, I changed my panel here. I don't like that. So this one's gonna be really fun. Who here can roll their R's? Give me a thumbs up or a high five. Everyone, looks like everyone can roll their R's. Yes, yes. Who here struggles rolling their R's? I think we're good. Okay, awesome. So this one is reminds me of Ricky Tikki Tavi. It's rickety, 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 ree. So what that will sound like in a warm up is rickety, 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 ree. So this one is tricky. You wanna, what you're doing here is you're releasing tension in your mouth and your tongue, and you're allowing the breath to travel up and out. And now, and singing an I vowel also helps create the space. And singing the E, re, that's helping the sound get really laser focused, and you should feel it coming out here, kind of like your forehead, eyebrows, even your upper part of the bridge of your nose. So that's what that will be like. All right, is everyone ready? This one's fun. Awesome. Here we go. We're gonna rickety, rickety, ree, y'all. 1, 2, and sing. Rickety, 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 ree. 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 Rickety, 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 ree. Rickety, 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 ree. Rickety, 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 ree. Rickety, 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 ree. Rickety, 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 ree. Good job, guys. One more. Good job, everyone. So, I always ask my students how they feel after certain exercises because it's really important to know where the sound is resonating in your body. So would anyone like to share how they felt after doing that exercise?
So I felt, I think, almost more comfortable after doing that exercise than just the previous one, which is interesting. And I don't know why, but most of the feeling was coming from my face, and I felt it coming out here.
Good.
And what I found, because usually my voice is my worst instrument. And if I'm singing around the house, it's usually Broadway musicals, and I tend to sing the female part. So I'm a little off.
We got a tenor in the house.
Yeah, but so the rickety was really, my judgment dropped, and I just slipped into my range and was able to go. And I was able to follow the scale much better than with the other exercise I found.
Yes, so that is a really, really good thing to notice. I love that exercise because it encourages energy in your body, right? And so when we're singing, we want that energy. We want to feel the spinning, the vibrations. We want to feel it, hear the buzzing in our chest, the buzzing in our face, our mouth, our skull. And so I love that exercise. It was difficult for me when I first started singing because I couldn't roll my R's. And you're like, I'm Hispanic. Why would I not know how to roll my R's? But I couldn't. I definitely couldn't do that. So thank you so much, Buddy, for sharing. Would anyone else like to share how that felt? Are we good? Everyone give me a thumbs up if we're all good. We're ready to continue. Yay. Okay. Awesome. All right. So this next one. So this one is going to be interesting here. I'm going to have to bring my laptop a little closer so that you can see something. So everyone go ahead and look at your hand. Okay. And so do you see this part here? Right? You can kind of make a circle with it and you can feel where it dips in. So maybe I should have warned everyone. I hope your hands are clean. But we're going to go ahead and make an O with our lips. And we're going to fit that O right into that place so that our lips make a perfect seal. So you can't really do anything there, is what I was trying to say. But there is a purpose for this. Okay, so what we're going to do here, we're going to sing, let's see, we'll start right here. We're going to sing an ah. So it might not sound like an ah at first. It might sound more like a hum, which is completely normal. So we're going to sing ah. That's the vowel we're singing. Okay? So we add the hand here. It's going to go something like this. Release your hand on the descending line. Okay? So it should feel really nice and easy, really light. No pushing on your voice. Whatever comes out. It's okay. But we're going to pretend like we are sending, like, kind of blowing kisses with our energy, right? Our vocal energy. Like we're giving sweet kisses out to anyone who needs them. Okay? That's kind of the feeling that you want with this warm-up. Okay? So we're going to do that there. 1, 2, and 1. We're going to go back down here. Make sure your ahs are really ahs, right? You don't really want to do an right? A nice like America or avocado, right? So we're gonna start pick that up right here. Good. Very nice, everyone. Thank you for getting a little funky here with me. So how you should be feeling here, and not that you have to, it's not definitive or anything like that. Normally after this, you'll feel more relaxed, more open. Even your speaking voice will feel less heavy. You should kind of still feel that openness and space in your head here. Would anyone like to share how they feel after that one?
Yeah, I was just going to say I definitely feel that expansiveness. And during the process, I was like, what in the world? Like, why are we doing this? But like that's the funny part about it was I later on, actually it was actually more towards the lower octaves. And actually I went on without you. I kept going and I kept going, and I felt more expansive and more spacious and even more just like in my body. Yeah. As I kept going lower, and then I felt a sense of like, oh my gosh, gratitude for still having the really vast spectrum of octaves that I probably gained when I was in choir for like 5 years. So I lost it.
Yes, that is wonderful. So Any one of these exercises you can definitely do on your own. And so what I want to do now, I know we've kind of been singing a little bit, but I want to talk a little bit about kind of our vocal mechanisms and really how incredible they are. So I drew a picture here, and it is going to look really, really weird to you all. So I'm going to explain here. You might help to make your my screen a little bit bigger here so that you can see. So this is a picture of your throat area, and this is right about where your vocal flaps are in your body. This is by no means a scientific diagram at all. But here I kind of zoomed in. Now these black thingies, our vocal folds actually aren't black, but I needed to distinguish them here. They work kind of like a, I never remember what those things are called, but they used them in the olden days to keep the fire alive. They were like these weird accordion things. They have two handles and you press them down.
Bellows.
And then air comes. Thank you. Yes. Thank you. I can never remember what they're called.
I'm old enough to know that kind of.
So that is how our vocal folds work. So what happens when we sing, when we speak even, and when we're speaking healthfully, these vocal folds will come together nice and smooth like this, right? So when I'm singing and we're singing properly, they'll do this kind of thing, okay? And so if you hear someone, maybe they sound really breathy, which is fine, right? But this is what's happening inside of your body when you hear that kind of sound. What happens is that the vocal folds aren't coming together and now air is escaping and you get a really breathy sound like, right? That's what's going on there. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but that's what happens. So now the opposite of that is hearing lots of what we call vocal fry, right? So lots of grunts, lots of that is all vocal fry. So what happens when we make these sounds is that our vocal folds literally slam together like this. And so I don't know if anyone is, I'm sure everyone here knows who Adele is, who is a phenomenal singer. But she got vocal nodes. And why? Because when you're belting unhealthfully and when you're singing unhealthily and you're just really, it begins to be more of a yell, this is what's happening. And over time, it can callous those vocal folds. You begin to develop vocal nodes. And so it becomes really, really painful to sing. And at that point, you're no longer using your body. You're just beating up your voice mechanism. So that's why the breath support is so, so important when we're singing. Allowing the breath to carry our sounds. One, it saves us from hurting ourselves. Two, that's when we get that beautiful crystalline sound, that nice feeling in your skull. Sometimes it'll feel like a mask. You'll feel it here. You'll feel it coming out here. You'll feel vibration here. You'll feel the energy in your body as you're singing. And so that's what we want to go for so that we're not hurting ourselves. So thank you, everyone, for bearing with my beautiful artwork here. There's another thing that I love to talk about when it comes to singing. And I want to see a show of hands. Who here has ever heard someone say, oh, sing with your diaphragm? I have. Or you should be singing with your diaphragm. Yeah. So this is a myth. And I'm about to go full Mythbusters here on you guys for a little bit. So this is a very quickly drawn and lovely portrait of the inside of your body here. So this striated looking thing is your diaphragm, and it sits right about here. It's kind of like an upside down salad bowl, and it is an involuntary muscle that helps to protect a lot of your internal organs, like your kidneys, your sorry, I may be wrong about the kidneys. I don't really remember where those are, but your intestines, your stomach, and all of the other organs that are in this general area. That's what your diaphragm helps protect. And so when people say sing with your diaphragm, really what they're trying to say is you need to engage your body, engage your core here, even engage your glutes. Oops. What was my friend doing? So, because what happens is that since your diaphragm is an involuntary muscle, it cannot do anything on its own. It requires something else to act upon it, to work, and to do what it needs to do. And so, has anyone here ever had hiccups? Yes, so when you hiccup, that is your diaphragm convulsing pretty much, or not convulsing, contracting. Your diaphragm is contracting, and so what it's doing is it's pushing up on the bottom part of your lungs, and that's why you feel the air coming out of your body. You're like, right? That's all it's doing, it's just pushing air out. And so when it's convulsing, yes, our diaphragm is working, but other than that, really what gets the breath out and moving is using our core, engaging our base, our foundation, our legs, being grounded, our spine being nice and tall, our shoulders being up, rolled, and back. Feeling grounded in our space and energized. And then that's where the beauty happens in our voices. That's when the beauty happens in our breath.
She's just talking about
and so
she's talking about diaphragm.
Now you all know more than most
really fucking
singers do. Right? So yeah, you can't just use your diaphragm to sing. You have to use your entire body.
We break at 5:05, so when you get back, we can walk together.
And so
And then
that
nothing until 7:07.
is just some basic mechanisms, kind of the anatomy of what's going inside your body. So for this last part, I know we have about 15-ish minutes. I'm going to just talk a little bit about kind of my experience with singing and what that has been like for me, how I got here.
I'll be right back.
And one of the things that I can never forget.
Love you.
I guess I've been singing since I was 2. I've always loved to sing. I started classical voice training when I was 11 years old. But I grew up in a very, very small town where there wasn't anything like that going on. My high school had no choir. There was very limited resources, and I was very much on my own. I had to figure this singing thing out by myself in a very secluded part of the country because it was all farmland mostly. So I remember growing up, I practically begged my parents. I was like, please put me in voice lessons. Like I want to learn how to sing so badly. And growing up in a household where my parents didn't have a lot of money, it was a really big ask of them. But my mother in particular, she decided to bring more clients on and start doing more taxes and all of this so that she could afford to pay for my voice lessons. And I'm so grateful for that experience and her support there. And so that's kind of where my journey started. My voice teacher was a classically trained opera singer, traveled the world doing opera, and she was an incredible person. But she taught me lots of things about myself, and that this is something that I can do. It's not just something that people in the city do, or people with more money or experience do. I can be a singer if I believe in myself and I choose that path. And so I studied with her for about 5 to 6 years. I went off to college, and had I not gained the just vast amount of skill and knowledge from her and experiences that I was able to have because of her, I would have never been able to afford to study voice and continue my education in that. So she really, really helped me just have a future in what I really love to do. And so, but that doesn't mean I didn't have struggles. And part of why I love singing so much is because that was the one way growing up. I have done so much inner work with rejection, because growing up, I was in a very traditional Hispanic household, and I had family members that were like, "Oh no, go away. We don't want to do that somewhere else. We don't want to hear you. We don't want to hear you." And I heard that for so long, so that when I was singing, that was the only time people would listen to me. You know, if I had something I needed to tell my dad or show my dad, "Hey, I drew this." Go away, go show that to your mother. And so all of that impacted how I reacted with people, and it impacted how I just dove into singing, because this really is the space where I feel most comfortable sharing my voice with others, because I know people are listening. And so that is kind of how this has impacted me so much. And it's become my voice, is this singing. And I've learned to have my own voice, not only in my singing, but speaking with others, sharing my story, sharing my truth, sharing my pain, sharing my experiences, and actually talking about this stuff, because it took me years to be able to do that. Singing and music in general has gotten me through lots of hardships, lots of breakups. I would write music and sit down when I had broken up with a guy, and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to use this. I'm going to write a new song about it. I'm going to focus on myself. Or even when I was feeling sad, or I didn't really know how else to express what I was going through, I would sit down and write a piece of music and sing. And so it's something that is an extension of who I am. And maybe singing isn't your specific thing, but I hope that through this experience and through this time with us working together and using our bodies and our voices together, that you have learned to not give a fuck about what else is going on, and just really tune into yourself, tune into your voice, and be true to yourself, and don't listen to all of the judgments, all of the comparisons, because it's very, very easy to do that in our world today. So does anyone have any questions or comments, or anything you want to ask me about? Literally anything. You can tell me anything. I am here for you. You can message me your questions if you would like to. Oh, okay. It looks like, Britt, you sent something like 20 minutes ago, and I'm just now saying it.
It's okay.
So you're curious about how I learned to roll my R's. Oh, okay. Yeah, so we can definitely go over that. So what you do, and I get really weird with my students all the time. I show them the inside of my mouth, and I'm like, trust me, it's important. So let me give you a little web profile here. So what's happening is that, right? My tongue is. So what's happening is that your tongue is touching the roof of your mouth, and you're saying an R consonant while letting that breath come up and out. So right? Even smile when you do that, because this is entirely a dental action, a dental sound. You make the sound with your tongue, but the sound is going to come out here through your mouth, through the tip of your nose. I hope that's helpful. You can practice that more. Share it with your mom. I'd love to hear how her R rolling has progressed.
Yeah, I appreciate that, because her and I always I can roll my R's really well, and my mom can't. And I guess, I got the gene from my dad. And I was told that oh, it's just in your genes, you either know how to do it or you don't. And so my mom and I always mess around, but she's like, I hope you don't mind. I just recorded you explaining how to do it, so I'm going to send it to her and be like, look, Mom, you can try.
No, I don't mind at all. It took me a long time it took me a few months to figure out how to roll my R's, because I couldn't really do it either. I could kind of flip them. I could go, but I couldn't do anything longer than that. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I love it.
Yeah. And I did have another question.
Yeah.
So with your first diagram that you drew, how do you know, is there any other ways to tell if you're restricting, besides I heard you say if it sounds airy or feels airy or whispery, or if it sounds scratchy or anything like that?
Yeah.
Is there any way to tell if you're doing that, or how do you know that you're doing it right?
Yeah. It's a really, really good question. And so I teach how to be in your body when you're singing this. So you'll notice, because you're going to feel tension here in your neck when you're not singing correctly. When you are singing correctly, you will not feel any tension at all, and it'll feel so free. No matter what it sounds like, you'll have that feeling of freeness and lightness in your voice, which actually brings me to something that I really wanted to share. So thank you, Brittany. Sorry. So one thing in singing that I love and I even apply just to my life in general. So in Italian, we have the word chiaro, which is light, bright, right? It's the V for vibes. And then we also have scuro, which is dark, right? Kind of like the midnight sky. And so when we're developing our voice and our sound, we begin to blend these two things together. And so when we get to the point in our sound where you can no longer tell if it's chiaro or scuro, light, or bright, or dark, to where right here in that perfect spot of just dusk or dawn, and you can't tell which. That is the balance of the grounded feeling, those vibrations here in your chest, and that's also the balance of the lightness and fluidity of your head voice, right? So you have several registers. You have your chest register, right, your chest voice, and you have your head voice. In men, it's called a falsetto. Women do not have falsetto voices. It's impossible. Trust me. The anatomy is a little different there, even here in your throat. For women, it's either called a head voice or a flagellant voice, which is when I'm singing up here. Right, that's our head voice. If I'm singing down here. That's my chest voice. So you can hear the difference between this. This is up here. It's more more my head, this is more my chest. I've developed more of the middle ground because I've been singing forever. But that's the point you want to get in your sound, and even in your life, right? You're not unbalanced, you're not ungrounded, and you have all these downloads, but you have to ground the knowledge that you get, or ground the experiences that you're having, and live here without resistance, and that perfect clarity and freedom, ultimately. So, would anyone else like to ask a question or share their experience today?
Thank you for sharing your beautiful wisdoms and sharing what you know about voice and finding balance in your voice. It's really beautiful. This was so beautiful, so amazing.
Thank you for sharing, Andrea. Well, buddy. God damn it.
You can call me
Andrea Flow Bunny. I like it. So, just some information here. I'm not only a classically trained singer, I'm also a life health and wellness coach. I've been certified for about 3 years now. So I am able to help find where you're at, where you've been in the past, what stopped you or slowing you down, and help you get to where you want to be, and really having a clear vision for that. And I also do voice lessons as well, so separately, but nothing's really that separate anyway. So you can find me in the providers area. I have Studio Anais is for voice lesson signups. Bold New You coaching. There it looks like a little phoenix, and then you'll definitely see the word bold in big black letters. That is for life coaching. So definitely feel free to reach out, book a session with me, and I'd love to speak with you and get to know each of you better. Thank you so much for sharing your space with me. I've really enjoyed it.
Evie, we still have some time if you want to share. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah,
I was just really gonna state that I was really strenuous on my neck and my my chakra. Actually, I couldn't finish with you guys. I think it is what you guys were talking about with Brittany. I think that I'm holding something in there and I'm not releasing it. So it's like really hard actually to be able to sing. I was thinking I want to say I got weak or anything, but it was very strenuous. Now I'm this is a little bit deeper. It hurts a little bit.
Yeah, and that's really good to notice. Definitely, when you're feeling that here, that's a really good time to tell yourself, okay, relax. Let go. You don't have to push, right? You don't have to force anything to happen. The same thing goes in your voice, right? You don't have to push it. So with training, just like I learned to be a singer, there are things that we also learned that aren't so beneficial, right? One of those things is picking up different habits in our voices. And so I've taught lots of beginner singers, and everyone has their own thing. Everyone has their own thing they have to unlearn before they can sing and contribute their authentic voice. And so, yeah, thank you for sharing that and pointing that out. Keep working on it. You're more than welcome to, if you'd like, we can do talk more about that, or if you'd like to book a one-on-one session and we can really figure out what's going on there. If that's something that you would like to do, of course, I'd be more than open to work with you on that.
Thank you so much. That was very interesting.
You're welcome. Yeah, would anyone else like to ask a question or share any aha moments or anything that they've felt during this experience?
Jess.
Go ahead, Jen.
Yeah, I was just curious about finding that middle ground between the chest voice and the head voice. Like mine feels like a complete switch. So
yeah, that is perfect. That's a great question. So, maybe I probably should have phrased that a little bit better. So the Kiara was more of a bright sound, if you want to think of it that way. Scrotal is more of the richness or darkness. It's more of coloring in the voice and in the sound. And so if I wanted to bring more darkness to something here, or color it a little more mysterious, right? I would do that. So maybe that sounds like, let's see here. Versus, so there's different colors of the sound, right? Maybe I want to bring a little more richness up here. Versus, it's kind of different ways to color the sound. Or maybe I want to make this down here in my chest voice a little lighter or brighter. Versus, so I hope that makes more sense with those examples.
Yeah, it means you literally have the option to sing chords, and I have the option for one note only.
No, so it's really just coloring your sound. I know sometimes these, so like the way we just like talk about the voice, some people work good with colors. Like if I were to say, hey, sing lavender, you're like, oh, makes sense, right? Right? But yeah, that's kind of what that means. It's just having more of a brightness versus that darker, richer sound. And so you want to get into the middle. That's really where your unique sound is, because your voice is like a thumbprint. When you cultivate your own voice, no one else in the world is going to sound like you, because you're the only one in the world with your specific body. No one's anatomy is exactly the same. And so scientifically it's impossible when you're singing correctly, that is, and you're not listening and trying to replicate kind of more idiomatic styles. Yeah, thank you for your question, Jet. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I think that's it for this evening, but if you have any other questions, feel free to message me, comment, aha moments, whatever. It works.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Anais. That was just really beautiful. Definitely feel the vibration being risen.
Yes, I love it.
And that's really, I love, like, especially in relation to our dinner conversation last night, you know, about you, like, really, like, stepping into your power and, like, standing for what you believe in. And, like, no wonder, like, you're a singer, like, just really speaking your voice and speaking your truth, and, like, such a powerful throat chakra. That's, yeah, stunning. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you all for being here and experiencing this with me. I love singing, and I love to sing with other people. So thank you for singing with me today.
Yay. So a couple logistics.